Hello, Ravens flock, and welcome back to Baltimore Talk. That is right, we are back. I'm back. I am your host, Anthony Propst, and as I said at the end of last season, we are back with Season 2, baby. Oh my goodness, I cannot tell you all how excited I am to finally be back for Season 2. I've been waiting for this since we ended back in January, February-ish, when we lost in Wild Card Weekend against Cincinnati. But oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen of the Ravens flock, I cannot tell you how personally excited and happy I am to finally be back amongst the people, amongst the crowd, amongst all the fans. Oh my goodness, this offseason has been crazy. To acquiring Zay Flowers and Odell Beckham Jr., both draft and after the fact, and finally, on draft day, 6 hours before the draft, we finally reached a deal with our quarterback, Lamar the Man Jackson. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited. I can't say it enough. I'm so very excited to finally be back and finally bringing you all some new and exciting episodes of Baltimore Talk. And I know Saturday night, we had our first preseason opener, the 24th consecutive preseason victory. Haven't lost a preseason game since the 2015 season, everybody. And I know, and I'm going to say this off rip, this is going to be a pretty relatively short episode. I, as you all know, do my run through of the entire game play-by-play. But since this is preseason and I've been told by certain people and such that it's only preseason, it doesn't really matter. Well, guess what? As someone who's trying to make a full-on career out of this, it matters to me, but I know most of you probably saw the game, so we're not going to go through every significant little play and every little significant detail. So yes, like the beginning of Season 1, it will be a relatively short episode. It's not going to be nothing long, nothing crazy, but there are some certain things, some certain plays, and some certain highlights, and of course, my halftime thoughts that I want to talk about, but we were in Baltimore at M&T Bank Stadium, our first preseason opener game, and that's where we're at our home stadium, as we should be, because, baby, we are the best. And I'm going to start it off, as I always do, with the coin toss, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure if they did a coin toss. I'm assuming they did, but just in case I was wrong, and since it was home field advantage, we started off didn't start off with the ball, but we started off with it as we always do in the third quarter because, after halftime, once you do that coin toss and you choose to defer. And as I stated almost every single week last year, that when you win the coin toss, you defer the ball at the start of the game because you never know how that first quarter or even that first half is going to go. So you could be down 32-17 by the time halftime starts and then come back after you make those locker room adjustments and go crazy, ball out. That's why you always want to defer at the start of the game if and when you win the coin toss. And Baltimore started off the third quarter and the halftime with the ball. So I'm going to say, yes, indeed, they did have to defer. And honestly, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. As I literally just said, that it was a great idea. But with all that being said, like I said, folks, oh my goodness, I can't tell you how excited I am to be back. I've been waiting for this. I've had people tell me, oh, enjoy the summer. Don't talk about football, this, that, and the third. But I'm like, nope, sorry. I can't wait to start talking about football again, specifically our Baltimore Ravens. So we're going to get right into it, starting in the first quarter here. So after a certain number of plays as Philadelphia against the Eagles, they were really crushing it. I'm not going to lie to you guys. They were really crushing it and killing it when it came to third down conversions. So after a number of first, second, and third downs, even some 4th and 1s, I'm not going to lie, or even 4th and 10, they ended up converting and getting a decent amount of yards. And once we get to 8 minutes, 58 seconds left at the end of the first quarter, they kick a 45-yard field goal and score it, them putting up the first numbers up on the board, it being 3-0. Then, as we go, we get the return. We have Anthony Mitchell, son of former Ravens player Also, I cannot remember off the name of the top of my head, but his father was also a Ravens player, also a Mitchell. So he ran it back for a 32-yard return, and then we had our newer quarterback. I can't remember off the top of my head again, I apologize, and anybody can reach out to me via social media and tell me a little bit more if my knowledge is escaping me at the moment, because this is 2 days later after the game, that Josh Johnson, I can't remember if I believe we picked him up in the draft or we already had him and just elevated him up from the practice squad. Someone can tell me off the top of my head, just because my mind's a little scattered right now. But he ended up QBing for a little bit, and he actually did really good because after an unfortunate fumble and a false start, I should say, fumble of the game itself, we ended up getting pulled back for a 1st and 15, and our new wide receiver, Zay Flowers, he only ran it for a yard, but he was really crushing it. I'm not going to lie. It was really nice to see Zay Flowers, our first draft pick, finally, well, not finally, obviously finally, because it's preseason week 1. So, yes, finally. But to see him out on the field and see what he can do and see what his skill set is, very interesting. But on a 2nd and 14, we got our returning guy, our returning man, Isaiah Likely. He ran it for a nice 4 yards. Then on 4th and 10, we ended up having an incomplete pass, so we ended up having a punt after our first possession. But skipping ahead a bit through here, just getting to some certain things. And once we get back to Philly, once we get back to their side of the ball, they end up having to try and kick another field goal. And after some delay of game penalties, some false starts, they end up missing their second field goal. So it still stays near the end of the first quarter, 3-0. Then moving on to right before the end of the first quarter, we end up having a hands to the face flag on 2nd and 4, which really killed us. Well, didn't kill, it helped us, excuse me. The Eagles had a hand to the face. And then our guy, Justice Hill, ran it for 37 yards to end the first quarter. So then after that, Tyler Huntley checks in as QB. And as we run down and such, we're getting through first quarter, and we end up on our first possession, too, getting a nice and beautiful touchdown. So 3rd and 6, right after we started the second quarter, we bump it up to 7-3, because you know our guy, Justin Tucker, he don't miss, he don't play. He's we know Justin Tucker and his abilities. Everybody does. Nobody's missing those issues one bit. Because it's Justin Tucker. Like, can I get a witness here, folks? Let me stop. But as we move through a little bit here, we end up going up and up and up and up, back and forth, some flags here and there. We had the Eagles score another field goal after we get our touchdown. So now it's 7-6 in the middle of the second quarter. And as we keep going down, it's bunch of yards, bunch of losses, nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy. Again, it's only preseason. People are still putting in their resumes, still trying to see where their skill set is, see what a spot is, see what we can get going and good. So, nothing to ride home about, nothing to be super stellar about. However, it's still Ravens football, and it's back. So, of course, people are going to be excited and interested. But as we get down, we keep going, and the Eagles finally score a touchdown with 3 minutes, 51 seconds left. Now it's 13-7, us down. And as we continue to move on, continue to go down, we end up having one of our passes swatted down. So on our next possession, we end up having a punt. So then it's now 1st and 10, 2nd and 8 as Eagles run and miss. Then we end up calling a timeout. Now it's 4th and 1 for them. And they end up taking their final timeout right beforehand. And, of course, like I said, they convert, unfortunately. And then after that, we go down. And Eagles end up punting again because, so on the return here, and let me tell you this one really hurt my soul. After they punted the ball away, we go to catch, run and scramble, end up fumbling the ball, and they end up recovering. And it was absolutely awful. I was absolutely infuriated, absolutely upset. But with 1:08 left, they end up having to punt anyway because they couldn't go anywhere. So then as we get the ball back, our man, Gus the Bus Edwards, back once again, runs 2 plays back-to-back, one for 6 yards, the next for a completion. We call our timeout. So then on 1st and 10, there's a flag thrown, and it's neutral zone infraction on the Eagles. So since it's only preseason and it's not a full yards, it now bumps it from 1st and 10 to 1st and 5. We end up getting a complete pass and taking our last time out. So now it's 1st and 10, and then we fumble the ball backwards. Oh my goodness, I can't tell you how bad that was. That one really shook me, I'm not going to lie to you, because we're down, about to go into halftime. And then it's 2nd and 4, 3rd and 4, we finally convert. And then 1st and 10, complete for a pass. And then here is why I constantly say, because certain people like to bring it up to me, when he did it in the 2021-2022 season, or no, excuse me, 2021 to 2022 season, Justin Tucker kicked in Detroit a 66-yard field goal, and people like to say the only reason why he did that is because they were in a dome. Well, let me tell you, all those who doubt my guy, he, in an open stadium, at M&T Bank Stadium, right here, right before the half, kicks a 60-yard field goal, and it was good. Yes, in Detroit, it was an extra 6 yards back. However, with that one, it bounced off the uprights and went in. This one, a full 60 yards in an open stadium, sailed through nothing but upright. So, to all those who doubt Justin Tucker's skills, please don't anymore, because he's the man. Like, he literally sent us, yes, we were still down. However, we were still down going to half, but a 60-yard field goal to end it? Come on, Ravens flock. Tell me there's nothing better than that. And then getting into halftime, where we were making some mistakes, my thoughts were just need to watch for open gaps, because when we were running the ball, we were running into the back of our men when the gaps closed on us, and then we had to scramble, pull back a little bit, and then we had to go around and get some yardage. And then Josh Johnson, he needed to elevate a little bit better, or not elevate, apologies, my improper English, evaluate. He wasn't surveying the defense and surveying his options better. He kind of just saw one target and just let it fly. He wasn't surveying his options as well as he could have. Then on my next one is they needed to get outside and stop the clock more, because they were trying to run for yards, and that was good, yes. But in those 2-minute situations where we were really starting to have some problems and struggling, we needed to get outside, stop the clock, survey, and take it even further. Then as well, Tucker's kick, like I can't praise it enough. 60 yards, nothing but field goal, no bar, no upright, nothing. Man, just let it fly, let it sail, and I'm so happy he did it. And as I said at the very beginning, I'm just glad to have football back. Preseason is on. We are back at it once again, and I just can't tell you guys how excited I am to finally have it back. And I know we only have 3 preseason games, one coming up later this week at night again, but I will say this. These first 3 episodes, this one that we're currently on, the next 2, because they're only 3 weeks of preseason, they're going to be relatively short episodes. Because, again, it's only preseason. It's not too much to write home about, because, again, it's just people putting in their resumes saying, hey, Coach, Mr. John Harbaugh, this is what I can do. This is where I'm at. This is what I want to take on. And I'm going to continue to bring it. And then once we start with the regular season, the episodes will get longer, because we're going to go back through it once again. Might not be them 45-minute to hour episodes. Probably will be, but I'll try my best, ladies and gentlemen, not to make it longer than an hour once. But I can't promise that once we get there. However, getting into the third quarter here, this is where Tyler Huntley checked in as QB, because Josh Johnson, he was our QB the first half. Did relatively good, but we know how Tyler Huntley is. Don't, please, goodness gracious, Ravens flock, do not get me started on Wild Card Weekend again. I really don't want to get into that big debacle. However, he's still good, because when playing, he did get a quad injury, and he did work it out. He was good to go back on the field. But during this third quarter, he ended up having some good plays. We had some good things. And Anthony Mitchell, Mitchell is the son of former Raven Anthony Mitchell, so that's where I was trying to go with it. I believe I might have said Anthony Mitchell was the son of Anthony Mitchell, but again, you can reach out to me via social media. Obviously, I have all my links and everything where this goes up, but we're not going to get into that right now. We're going to continue to go with Ravens football here. So as Anthony Mitchell runs it, we get some yards, we don't, we go some places, and then once we get into the middle of the third quarter, we get a second touchdown and finally take the lead back. This was our man, Tylan Wallace. Oh my goodness, this touchdown was beautiful. It was a nice pass right to the top left corner of the end zone, sailed right to his hands, nice and perfect, nice and beautiful, and it was absolutely great. As we continue to move on, QB for the Eagles right on their next set of downs. First thing we did here on a 1st and 10 for them, we took their running back down in the backfield. Didn't even make it past the line. So now with them at a 2nd and 17, their QB gets sacked by our guy number 59, Malik Ham. And oh my goodness, he literally just burst through the line and took him down like it was a practice drill. And this was absolutely phenomenal. So once they're back at 3rd and 23, they only gain 9, 4th and 14. They end up having a punt, and this is that play that I was talking about in the middle of the second quarter where we get the return, we fumble it, and the Eagles recover with 5:39 left. And oh my goodness, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was a little nervous. I was a little skeptismo. So as they continue to go, they get missed 2 plays. First one doesn't go anywhere on a 1st and 10 for an incomplete pass. Second one, they end up running for 7. 3rd and 3, they get stuffed at the line and only get a yard. 4th and 2, they try to throw a pass in the end zone with 4 minutes, 10 seconds left in this quarter. It's incomplete. So now, as we run, we tried to do some things. We get a 1st and 10 for a loss of 1. 2nd and 11, we get another we get a complete pass for 7 yards. So now it's 3 and 4. We convert. 1st and 10, we go for a 12-yard deep pass, convert again. Then as we keep going, we get a 1st and 10 right before the end of the quarter, and there was a neutral zone infraction. So we end up, once again, taking that extra 5 yards. Now it's 1st and 5, and we end up converting to go and end the third quarter. So as we go down, oh my goodness, this first play of the fourth and final quarter of the game. 1st and 10, incomplete. But a second one, we complete it and get a touchdown. But it got called all the way back because of a face mask. And oh my gosh, I can't tell you how upset I was. We would have taken it even further than just the final score. And this here, it was absolutely ridiculous. So now it's 2nd and 25. We get taken down to the backfield. 3rd and 30, incomplete pass. So now on 4th down and 30 yards to go, we end up having to punt the ball. And now it's absolutely crazy. As the Eagles are going down, they convert on their first set of downs. Then on the second one, they end up having the ball tipped on the first pass, incomplete. Second one, 2nd and 10, they fumble the ball and we recover it. So we made up for that fumble that we had in the third. But here's, oh my goodness, Anthony Brown. He's our 3rd string backup to our backups quarterback. And he's a good player. However, oh my goodness, I was so hurt. As we're going down, as he's being the QB, as we're going through everything, we end up having to go through as Tucker, he ends up having to kick a field goal, put us up to 20-13, and then we get a holding call on us. We have to go through it. Eagles end up getting back the ball, and I'm only skipping over this because I was just talking about Anthony Brown, and I got to get to this. We end up going through. We push them all the way back, and we force them back for a loss of 23 yards. Great defense on our part. They were on 3rd and 8, and we end up pushing them back for 21 yards. Like, we end up making their quarterback scramble back and taking them down 21 yards. So now it's 4th and 29. The Eagles punt. Good for us, right? As you'd expect. However, we're going down. It's 1st and 10. We throw a screen pass for a loss of 1. Then 2nd and 11. Anthony Brown throws a pick 6 as the Eagles go and get a touchdown. So now it's 2019. It's scary because we've seen this before. And this is in the middle of the fourth. There's so much football to be had and so much time left on the clock. And they end up getting the pick six. It's now 2019. They try and go for two, try and take the score and run with it. But our defense, oh my goodness, our defense ends up saying, you know what? Y'all did it to us, so we're going to run it right back. And they end up intercepting in the end zone. And it's absolutely crazy. And then, as everybody knows what the final score was, we try and go down for some things. We end up getting another touchdown, but it gets called back for a holding call. Then, with the 2-minute warning, it's 2nd and 11 and incomplete. Anthony Brown, he gets the first down. He ends up getting some yards, which was nice. Good for him being our back again, our third string. He actually did halfway decent. However, once we end up doing that, the Eagles take a timeout. We get a gain of 3. They take another timeout. We gain 6. They take their last timeout. It's now 3rd and 1. Anthony Brown again pushes the pile for the first. So we're on a fresh set of downs, and it's kneel it to end the game. Baltimore takes their first preseason opener, 24th consecutive since 2015, with a beautiful 20-19 victory. And again, as I said, it's only week 1 of preseason. It's just, for the third time now, people handing in their resumes, seeing where things need to go, this, that, and the third. So these first couple episodes are not going to be overly long and overly dramatic and overly talked about. But I will say, just at the end of the day, we came away with the victory. And after the way Philly played in the Super Bowl against Kansas City, like how close that score was, and yes, they didn't have any of their starters, like any of them. And the people they traded for, DeAndre Swift from Detroit during the draft, like Philly is going to be swifty this year. But it was just nice to see the fact that we can continue our legacy and continue our rep of consecutive preseason victories. So, like I said, 20-19 to finish off the score, finish off the game, finish off everything. And I'm just, for the last time, so excited, so happy that football is finally back. I'm so happy that Baltimore Talk is back. We are back for season 2, baby. And again, nothing crazy, nothing going on yet till we start. But with that being said, our next game is this Friday night on the 18th, I believe at 7 or 8 p.m. for week 2 of preseason. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been Anthony Propst here as your host on Baltimore Talk. And my final words are, welcome back, Ravens flock. Good night.